So you guys asked for it, and I figure I'll go through kind of the little process I go through here. What I did was I took a whole bunch of this foam right here, this pink insulation foam, and I carved it. And what I came up with was my individual pieces. I built frames for all my electronics. This is actually just a dummy frame. I built it underneath, and then I had my base to build my sculpture around. I just stacked these pieces of foam on top of each other, and then cut, and then sanded, and then I move on to the next phase of each part. So the second phase would be fiberglass, and what I'm using is Bondo because I'm kind of afraid that foam that I'm using might just melt under the heat from the plastic. Now, it only was hot for a second, so I could have been wrong and I could have been doing a whole lot of extra work for nothing, but didn't want to take the risk. So, second stage, sanding. More sanding, and sanding. Until I get a nice smooth finish, put another layer on, another smooth finish. I put a layer of fiberglass tape, just drywall tape, underneath, and I found that made it so I had to put a lot less coats, and it was easier to get smooth. I found also that you want to sand this stuff before it gets really hard. You put like a medium amount of hardener in, and then wait, and then when you feel it, it's still wet but hard, sand right away, because you'll get a nicer or easier time of doing it. Now this is another part. This is the back piece, or what. Now I worked on this. I didn't put the fiberglass, and it took me a long ass time to get it right, but it looked pretty good. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I noticed that this was melted in a bit, but I have a feeling that's from when I used the heat gun on it. The plastic I'm using is 2mm Optics acrylic. My suggestion is go as thin as you can. If it's just aesthetic, this stuff's actually really thick, really thick. I gotta heat it up for a long time, and it actually caused me a problem. So this is one of the finished products. As you can see, I've kind of cleaned it up, put it right. I'm gonna paint it, and you can see it's a little wobbly. Like I said, I should have heated it up a lot longer than I did. I was afraid to ruin Grandma's oven, but it came out pretty good. I didn't get the full form that I wanted. As you can see, it only did up to there, and then it got stuck. In any case, this is the table I'm using. I made it from plywood and pegboard. I glued all the joints together to make it a good seal, and then I taped it with tuck tape. And I got the trimming, or the stuff you put between your door to seal, to get rid of the draft on here, to seal it good. And I just used a regular vacuum. I drilled out a 2-inch hole, but it turns out that it was a little bit too big for the vacuum hose, so I had to jam a bunch of stuff in it. In any case, later you can see that work. And that's... Okay guys, here's a little important step that I want you guys to know. When you're doing this, you have to make a frame. This I didn't show you earlier. And what happens is you make two pieces, and you have your plastic sandwiched in between it. Now,
my holes don't line up perfectly every time. So what I do is I mark this as the upside. I mark that. I mark the top. As you can see, that's the real top because I made a mistake and put that as the top. In any case, another important thing is, you see this tape here, yeah, that's marker, but when drilling through this plastic, you have to have the tape. Otherwise, what happens is plastic cracks. And it cracks bad where you don't expect it. And it's cold here, so I made sure to do it right. In case this part screws onto the top of that, and voila, you have your frame sandwiched. I'll show you guys later. So this is my setup. This is the way I do it. I take my sheet of plastic. Got my vacuum table set up here. And all I do is I turn the oven on to broil. And then use my vacuum to suck the air up. What I find with this is I'm gonna have to push really hard and get it really hot before I put it on this time. I'm gonna really wait it out this time. You guys are gonna get to see me either succeed or fail at this one. But yeah, this is the setup. This is the way it looks. It's pretty simple when you get down to it. Didn't take too long to make, but you gotta get the right plastics. I've got my lovely assistant.
He's a professional athlete. I don't know what mental, don't what you think. And you know what? And manuscript. He doesn't go all crazy. But
It's going past this time.
yeah, just isn't famous. We worked through numerous
That worked much better. As you can see, vacuum formed around it pretty well. There's a little bit of work I'll have to do on it to fix it. I guess it popped out of the frame somewhere around the edges. But it worked good. Suction went on. It did exactly what I wanted this time. Now I know. Grandpa, it worked.